The elements of her testimony today will echo challenges that we're looking at nationwide in terms of providing better service with Amtrak. We are not unique. Our Cascades, Coast Starlight, and the Amtrak Cascades are scheduled for 2 hours and 30 minutes to Portland. It's about 108 miles to downtown Portland, the Union Station, and we don't ever come close to that time. And the challenges with the problems with freight railroads. If we could reliably get there in 2.5 hours, I would never get on Interstate 5 again. You never know. You can drive in an hour, 50 minutes, or it might be 3 or 4 hours, depending upon traffic and accidents and other things. So reliability is key in terms of having a schedule that you can rely upon. And secondly, basically frequency is also critical. There are some here who think we shouldn't have a national rail system for our country. We're borrowing $17 billion a year, even though we passed fake pay-fors when the Republicans did the FAST Act. The fact is we're borrowing $17 billion a year to put into the Highway Trust Fund. Now, some 20% of that goes to transit. The rest of it goes to highways. So that's a pretty big subsidy for highways and bridges. But there are those who think, well, we can't provide any subsidy to Amtrak. There is no passenger rail system in the world that makes money. Now, Virgin say, well, we make money in Britain. Sure, you make money. The government maintains the right-of-way and the track, and you run power over it. That's pretty damn easy. But that's not the reality in this country. On Amtrak's most frequented route, and it's sort of its cash cow. We have, I think, a $38 or $40 billion backlog of failing investments. I took the committee on a tour up to New York. Amtrak put on a special train with a viewing car, and that they use to do inspections. We saw some of the best engineering work, incredible engineering work that was done between 1872 and 1933. Unfortunately, things wear out. The tunnel under Baltimore, brick. The water mains above it, which the city hasn't maintained, are leaking. And we have a brick tunnel where it rains perpetually inside. Now, how long is that going to last? If that fails, the East Coast is paralyzed. Then we get to the Portal Bridge up in New Jersey, where the Trump administration is withholding approval because they're saying even though the state is going to borrow TIFIA funds and the state has to pay them back, that doesn't count, although it always has, as a local match. They've got to pay them back. They want them to pay a higher interest and go borrow the money from Wall Street or Trump Inc. or something like that. I don't quite get it. And the Portal Bridge, when they open it, they have to send out a large crew of people and one really big guy with a sledgehammer who finishes it off to get it back in place. The design is done. We're just waiting for the administration to stop dragging its feet. Then we went under the Hudson. We came back at midnight. They closed down one of the tunnels, and we went in to see the improvements in the tunnel. 1933, they put in knee walls in the tunnel. They ran 12,000-volt cables through there to electrify the trains going under there so people wouldn't choke on the whatever I suppose originally probably coal or diesel. And it got flooded during Sandy, and now the concrete is spalling, and every once in a while, kaboom, the 12,000-volt cable blows up, and it takes a very long time to repair it. If either of those tunnels fails, it's $17 billion a year to the American economy. It's not just a New York problem, not just a New Jersey problem. It's a problem for the whole nation. $17 billion a year in lost economic activity, and it's going to cost $16 billion to build the tunnels. But the environmental statement is sitting on Secretary Chow's desk because Trump is involved in a little boy peeing match with Chuck Schumer, and now he's moved to Florida, so he doesn't give a damn at all if that fails. So those are issues. But then today here with Amtrak, and I'm going to give Mr. Anderson a letter from one of my constituents. We've got to question the degrading of the service and what that means for the future of Amtrak. I know that you feel you have a mandate to break even. I intend to change that when we do the reauthorization. There's no rail system in the world makes money. And when you do things, I don't know where you make your money. I don't know if you've costed out your seats. You were in the airline industry, and I know in the airline industry, you make most of your money up front. You don't make it with the bargain seats. And, I have friends, a couple who often go to Southern California, and they prefer to take the train as to fly. And they rent a sleeper. But they've done away with the parlor car, so now the first-class people don't have a parlor car, and they go to the lounge car, and there are people camping in the lounge car. I mean, actually camping, sleeping bags. They put all their stuff, backpacks and stuff on the seats, and no one can get into the lounge car. And then the issues with food. So you're going to lose the high-end passengers. Maybe you want to dump them. I don't know. We've got to look really carefully and closely at what we're doing with and for Amtrak, because this is a much more energy efficient form of transportation. We're going to deal with a lot of issues here trying to decarbonize transportation in this country. 74%, 46%, I don't know where it came, it was 74, of carbon pollution in the United States comes from transportation. Rail is so much more efficient than aviation or individual automobiles for passengers. I think it's a critical service, and we've got to look at making it better and sustainable. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.